Boost mode. Okay.
Cool. Looks like we're live, huh?
We're live. Are we live? And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wolf. Welcome to another stream, baby. I got Bits of Wealth, the main man, the big bear himself, the big bad bear. Everyone's saying this guy's wrong, this guy's right. They can't decide what they think about the guy, but he's out here. He's staying consistent. He's doing his own streams all the time. Actually, he's in a lot of our spaces as well. If you come to a lot of our market talk conversations, he is a speaker as well as co-hosting all the time, and so he's all over the place. If you're in the trading world, highly recommend you check him out. He's been in the game for a long time. Actually, Bits, if you could just give like a quick, brief introduction on like the style of trader you are, your experience, like how long you've been in the markets, and where you focus on.
Cool. Yeah, I been trading for a few years now. I found crypto. Well, I had heard of it, a couple years before I took it seriously, but I started paying attention in 2017. Watched a handful of like Bitcoin documentaries, and I was like, all right, there's something here. My friends that have been bugging me for a few years, I finally said, okay, you guys were early. You guys, I should have paid attention. And I got started in 2017, and dude, I got wrecked like that first year. I bought on the way up to the top. I held, on the way down for like the next 6 months. And I recognized that if I didn't understand how to read the chart and what was going on, this was going to continue to repeat for me. Right. I was going to be relying on someone else to look at. I was going to be relying on someone else to follow. And I'm just not that kind of guy. Like I like to make my own decisions, always have been. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to learn this. So it was probably like late 2018 where I got serious about, signing up for crypto education courses, communities. Some of them were like live courses. Some of them were pre-recorded stuff that you could go at your own pace. But I went all in, man, in like late 2018, all of 2019. I was just consuming and learning and practicing. And I really didn't start trading with size and start to gain some traction probably till about like late 2020, maybe, somewhere around there. And then obviously, the run up to the 2021 highs, made money that year as well, like most people do during the bull cycles. But I started trading in the bear, and that I think helped like really just frame the way I looked at everything. And so been doing it full time for a couple years now, a few years probably now actually. And but I've been in the space as a holder. I've been in the space as a builder. I've worked with several teams, several projects in the past. Just brought a lot of like my Web 2 experience and Web 2 skills into the space. And right now, I'm just really focusing on trading these markets, man, and then just providing education and insights. I'm a big like learn, do, teach kind of guy, Cade. It helps me become better when I do that. When I learn, I do it, and then I teach it, and then I repeat that. So I'm big about that, man. I'm just really big about that.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah. And I think
as far as the trade style, sorry, because I didn't go into that, but I'm a more higher time frame guy for sure. And we'll kind of talk about some of this during the stream. But Cade, this, I like to zoom out a lot. I look for high time frame zones. I do play with leverage, but I'm not like most people out here, like doing 200x and stuff. I can't do that, man. That's how I started. I think it's part of the reason what led to a lot of bad experiences early on. I do low leverage. I'd rather do a little bit larger size when there's high probability or high confidence trades. And I'm kind of playing, I think my sweet spot is like, I like to play like in the 2 to 4 hour time frame. I look for trades that just kind of move between the ranges on that time frame. And then I just look for my zones on the weekly and daily chart. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. And that's helpful, especially for new traders. They're trying to figure out what zones to pay attention to if they want to be if they want to be trading on the day chart, or if they want to just mainly be looking at the higher time frames to zoom in and find these scalps. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. By the way, dude, that's when you look down ever, the bear profile zooms in and like it gets the eyeballs. Dude, that literally is hilarious. That kills me. And by the way, for people who are loving the spaces, this is cool because it gets a bit of an interactive feel to the bear PFP. I think it's fantastic branding, to be honest. And
like Dude, I mean, I really like this program, and I'll share it with you, Kate, after the stream. But
I would love to.
there's, and it's not just like bears, man. You could be any animal, you could be avatars, or I would even say for the people that are creative and know how to design 3D models, you could design like a cartoon or anime version of yourself, and you could use that. So it's
Oh,
pretty cool. Yeah, you could do a lot with it.
that's what I need. We gotta let Dom know until he doxes. If he ever doxes,
Yeah,
we'll have to get Dom some way to do that. That way, it's not just PFP. I feel like they make the streams more
yeah,
dynamic. But anyways, dude, I mean, as far as the crypto markets, we did a space a little bit earlier, a couple hours ago, just talking about everything that's going on. But
yeah,
obviously, like tons and tons of different states are starting to push through legislation with Bitcoin, like so many more than I ever thought. I mean, a pro crypto administration, I think for a lot of people, they were hoping for moonshot now. I guess for me, we've been in the industry for a little bit. So if you've been in the crypto cycle a while, we know that announcements are great, but oftentimes they're just going to keep kicking the can down the road for those bigger things that you really want. But
yeah,
until then, the main thing for me was just that we have sentiment of pro crypto-ness for the next
yes.
4 years, which means a
which
lot of
which
things
is
will be
huge,
easier.
which is
It's
huge. I
huge.
mean,
Absolutely.
anyone who's been in the space for, I'd say, for more than 3-4 years, uh, like this is the stuff we dreamed about, right? And
Yeah.
it's happening. So
Yep. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So tons of things going around. GameStop just bought in. I guess they met up with Michael Saylor very recently and have pledged to allocate some sources and funds over to buying Bitcoin.
yeah,
There's a bunch of different companies who are starting to hop on it. There's one. It was some stock that is doing very well now, performing very well now that they've jumped into the Bitcoin standard. I'm trying to figure out how long term that is, if that is able to be sustained, or if MicroStrategy really just has that grip on the market. Maybe GameStop I could see being a new
yeah,
fun stock to trade. I actually am excited they did that because I do like trading stocks. I'd like to jump into more stocks. There's just not that many that I'd be interested in trading, I guess. I might as well just trade cryptos in that sense. But GameStop
right.
now doing some Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Tesla. There's like a few stocks there that would be fun to trade. And so I'm glad GameStop is in that arena. But anyways, I want to jump over a
Yeah,
little bit into some of the charts. I
cool,
know
man.
I have a chart as well. I know you've got some stuff going on. Let me just share mine here. And by the way, this stream, we're going to pull up Ostium real quick, who is very similar to TradingView on the sidebar here. You can see they've got all the tools that TradingView has. But Ostium is basically a decentralized version of the broker you could be using. You just connect your wallet and boom, you've got every single option. If you're a trader, you can trade basically anything you want. Super easy to use. Like you said, if you want a long or short, you set your leverage, whatever you want it to be. You could do 200x leverage, I think, or 50x leverage here. I can do take your profits. This stuff is all simple, very easy to use. It's like stupid
Clean,
simple. That's why I love Ostium. And then here you can just check out whatever you want to trade: indices, forex,
dude.
commodities,
That
crypto.
is huge, honestly. The indices,
Yeah,
for
oh yeah,
people who want to stay in
absolutely.
the crypto world, but you want to have, you want to have some options, some forex options, and some US markets and stuff like that. This is huge. This is huge. Yeah,
It is fantastic. I love this. And I just throw in a couple trend lines, really just things I'm paying attention to for like momentum and
cool.
stuff like that. Um, but it is interesting watching Bitcoin right now, pretty much at this range that we're not exactly sure what to think. Obviously, it broke this trend line here, so it seems like we're moving up here. And it does. I mean, honestly, the last little bit of time, last couple of weeks, has been in an uptrend, and it's looking not terrible. But to be honest, the chances, I mean, for me at least on a personal level, for us to break through these levels into the 90s to get past the 92, 93 range, back up all the way into here, I don't know. I feel like we've just about juiced out anything bullish left. I can't think of anything more bullish than the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve and the fact that that didn't really do much for us.
Yeah.
And dude, it just feels like head and shoulders just playing out.
Throw a channel on here real quick. Go to your tools, and where you have the trend line, go to the parallel channel. So it's up on the one where you grab your trend line. Yep. And then click on that, and then go to parallel channel. You got it.
There we go.
All right. So grab it off of the recent low where you kind of started your trend line down there. Yep. Grab it off that wick. And then I want you to pull it back. No. I want you to pull it back. Pull it
Where we
back
go?
towards that
Whoop.
last wick low. Go a little further back.
Here
Nope,
or here?
the one behind it. Yep, that one. This deeper one.
Move this
Correct.
around.
And then the top of the channel, pull it to the bodies of the upper range. So pull it up. So go up, 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 and grab the bodies as like your high.
The lower body, the lower candles,
No,
right?
no, no, up, the upper end of the price action.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah, grab right
All
there.
right, let me move
Perfect.
this around a little bit.
And then just extend that out to the right. Yep. Pull it all the way to the right. Pull it all the way to the right. That way we can see roughly
I
where
see what you're
this
saying.
price could go. Yep. And then pull it down, back, align it. No, align it from the right side, because you're gonna have to grab that wick low and use that as like your anchor. So drop it down just a tad bit right there to grab that wick low. Right there. Beautiful. Yep. That's your channel, man. That's kind of your volatility range. So look, I
Beautiful.
mean, Bitcoin's above the median of this channel, which is so far okay. You know, you actually kind of got to bounce off of that midline of the channel if you look at it, right? Like it was like resistance a little bit. You had the big green candle push up. Yes, it retraced it back to the midline, but you did get a nice structure shift right there at the midline of that channel. So I would say,
Yeah.
like, short term, you know, you want to pay attention to what happens as price creeps up towards the upper end of that channel, which kind of aligns with that zone we've been talking about, that like 92K, right? I mean, it's
Yep.
kind of like right there.
We're in this
Yeah.
region here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not sure what it would take. I mean, I know stories usually follow the chart afterwards, and that's when like context of
Yeah.
the story changes. An announcement that normally people wouldn't care about in a
Sure.
bullish uptrend now becomes the reason that the chart's up.
Mhm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Sort of like, what's your feel as a trader? I know you like to take it level by level and adjust accordingly.
Sure.
But just looking at what we have, the information available, every time we get an announcement, we pump, but it's so weak.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets weaker every time.
Yep.
But I guess in the last 2 weeks, we trended up, which has changed a little bit of people's minds, because it's like people kind of basically forgot about all this that had happened.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
really just vigilant probably on like the hourly chart.
Right.
And they're more focused on the last couple of weeks of momentum. But tell me where you're kind of feeling here. And I'm
Yeah.
happy to jump over to Trading View as well,
Cool, man.
if we want to pull up some of your indicators and stuff. You want to do that?
Yeah. Let me load it up. But
Let's do it.
while I'm pulling that up, you know how I feel about news. Like number one, it's not, to me, it's like it's not actionable in that
Mhm.
at the end of the day, even if you're going off of news, you're still needing to look at a chart to find where your entries are. You're still needing to look at price action. So
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people treat price action like it's like, oh, you know, if you've got bullish catalyst, then the price doesn't matter. It kind of does, because that's like when you're calculating profitability, what matters is where you got in, where you got out, where you took profits. I mean, to say that the price doesn't matter is a little silly in my opinion. Now, unless you're talking like, you know, 10 years or whatever, then maybe it doesn't matter if you got in at 84 or if you got in at 72, you know. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Here, pull up, share screen, window. This is my trading view here. Share.
And by the way, while he's pulling up, guys, if you're watching, definitely give Bits of Wealth a follow. If you're on X, right above our faces. If you're on YouTube, in the description down below. You're going to want to make sure you're giving him a follow. And if you want to check out Ostium, if you're on Twitter, it's right down below in the comment below, and on YouTube in the description.
Dude, I'm gonna load up Ostium this weekend and probably play around with it a little bit. So I've been interestingly enough, like obviously, you know, we've been talking about it on the Wolf Spaces, but there's a number of traders that I follow and that we kind of, you know, comment on each other's content and stuff, and they've been pretty excited about Ostium. So I was like, okay, I got to start paying attention. Like there's something
Bad
here.
Price
So
loves it. Dude, Bad Price loves. He talks about it a couple times. Yeah, he like texted me. He's like, "Dude, this thing's cool." He was excited. He was on the space earlier with Ostium team, and he loves it. Just mainly because you can trade anything you want. You don't have to keep moving money off and on, which is obnoxious as it is already. But anyways, I see your screens pulled up here.
Yeah, like this is like my short term, right? So I'm zoomed into like a 30-minute right now on BTC to just to find out like what are we doing here. But let me zoom out to like the high time frame, and it'll kind of show you like what I'm seeing high time frame, right? So this is basically BTC since March of last year. You've got some support down here in green, resistance in red. Like the color coding is really for me is really more so that way when I zoom in. Like an example, if I'm in the weeds, if I'm in like the 15-minute, because I'm trying to like snipe a perfect entry, and then I notice though that I'm in front of a green backdrop, then that gives me confirmation that, okay, I need to be looking long because I'm in a high time frame support, versus Like if I'm looking for longs, but there's a bunch of this in the background, a bunch of red, I might say like, oof, okay, like if I do grab a long, it's probably just a quick little scalp in and out because I'm in a higher time frame resistance zone, right? Right now we're in the black, which also tells me something. It means I'm in between high time frame zones. So this here is less edge for me because I'm playing kind of in the void between the major zones where I do have edge, right?
Mm.
So like BTC is here kind of chopping. It's almost at the midline really between the two zones that I care about. Like I care
Do you
about.
trade in the midline area, or do you wait for it to get to the top or bottom of the range?
I'll take trades here in smaller size and
Really? Jump in? Okay.
and yeah, I will, like very small size, super low leverage, but they're like quick little scalps really more than anything, just to kind of scratch that itch when we've been doing a
Just to
lot of
feel
this.
something.
Yeah, just to feel something, exactly. But the edges up here, like these are the ones I get excited about, is when we start moving into the bigger zones. I'm like, all right, these are sizable trades that I can take. They're higher confidence. One of the guys that like mentored me in trading over the last few years, he would say like, look, when you're in between like the high time frame zones, just put a box on it, and then this box here, go in here and oops, he's like color it black, and put the transparency all the way to max. He's like, because you don't care what's happening in there. Like
Oh
if
wow.
you know what I mean, if you want to give yourself a massive edge, you do that, because you're not interested in high confidence, high probability trades until it starts poking its head up here, and then you're like, okay, it's poking its head out and it's in the red. I'm looking for either some shorts up here, or I'm looking for this thing to show some strength and give me a flip of this zone to support, right? Same thing with the downside. Like if I don't care what's happening here, I'm interested in if price does like little things like it did here and here. I'm looking for longs when that happens. Or the other thing I'd be looking for is I'm looking for weakness here. Like if I see price start to do something like this, I'm looking for weakness, and maybe it's flipping this to resistance, right? So yeah, he would say like when you're starting off and you're just trying to build that discipline of being a trader and having a plan and knowing where, not just where you're willing to play, but where you probably shouldn't be playing, right? Like if you're still learning, if you're relatively new, you probably shouldn't be playing here.
Yeah.
This little strategy of just kind of blocking it off and just saying, oops, like I'm not allowed to trade there. It's against my trade plan. I'm allowed to trade down here where I have edge, and I'm allowed to trade up here where I have edge.
Is there any information within that zone though that could be helpful, or is it pretty much irrelevant at that point?
That's
Like,
pretty
do you
much
ever bring back? You're just like, no, not important.
Nah, it's usually not important to the high time frame, because everything that's happened here is just chopping people up, man. It's just chopping people up. Like this maybe tells me the likelihood of it coming back to a support or continuing to move up to a resistance. But
Yeah.
as far as like edge, there's not a lot of edge here. This is like where retail's getting chopped up in here. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep, absolutely.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So
Wow.
that's kind of how I look at this stuff, man. And I love the 2 hour. Like for me, the 2 hour is just, it's a solid time frame. It's right in between like the 1 and the 4 in terms of the amount of information you can get in here, obviously, right? But it's a lot of times the 2 hour is like smoothed out, and it just looks clean. And maybe that's just because I've traded on it for so long that that's like my preferred time frame. But to me, the 2 hour is like a good mix of lower time frame, like the real time feel, but also enough to fit in like the high time frame confluence and everything else that's happening. So I really like that 2 hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know too many traders who choose the 2 hour, because a lot of the people just bounce either 4 hour, or they're 15 minutes, or they're way like Calvin, like on the week time chart, and he's out here making trades for next year's gains kind of thing. That guy's a monster.
Yeah.
But what are there any other specific edges that made you choose 2 hours? I know you mentioned a couple, but that's pretty interesting stuff.
It just depends. Like, and I also think, I guess, to add a little more context, like the time frame is going to depend on the asset, the instrument that you're trading. Like some charts move cleaner on a 2 hour or a 4 hour, while others will move a lot cleaner on a 30-minute or a 1 hour. It just really depends. So I think that that's also potentially like something that can give you some edge is like, for example, let's bring up like Sui, for example, right? Um,
Mhm.
Sui right now is just really clean on a 2 hour. Like you've got a clear range that we were in here, right? Really easy to see. You could still see the wicks on the candles. It was really clean. We're above it now. Like for me, I'm looking at Sui and I'm like, okay, give me something like that. We'll flip this to green, and we'll look at some longs here. Not the same size and risk as if I was longing and shorting in the high time frame zones.
Mm.
These are low time frame, but I'm willing to play them if they give me the right structure, the right like song and dance that's happening here, right? Whereas like a lot of other times, like Chainlink, I'm looking at the 2 hour, but Chainlink has been one that I've kind of been zooming into like the 30-minute or the 1 hour, just because I think it's just moving kind of slow. And so sometimes, like if you want to get some of the edge, you got to zoom in a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
timeframes I think are just something that you kind of move. Um, you move them according to what you're looking to do. Let me maybe give you an example. So like let's use BTC. You've got high time frame zones, real easy. We're in the middle, okay? Got some channels that I'm kind of playing with here to kind of define if I think it's going to bounce here or if it's going to roll over.
Yep.
But you could go to like a 15-minute, for example, right? And you can look in here and you can start looking for, okay, am I getting a lot of wicks to the downside? Are the candle bodies telling any kind of story? Like are they growing in size? Especially like once you start getting some acceleration, you start looking at that. Like are they getting bigger? Are they getting smaller? Um,
Mm.
so you have some signs like that. You're looking at prior lows and you're looking to see if any of these are wicking to them or slightly below them, because a lot of times that's how they get the trap entries. They'll give you something like this that moves just below like these prior
Yeah.
lows, and then they
Yep.
send it the other way, right? So you
That's
get
what I learned.
you get a
That was
lot of
when I
these.
first got in. It was like sniping those entries
Yep.
because you're waiting for the reversal. Now, I will
Yep.
say it's interesting watching the various different traders because, like, it depends. I think maybe it depends a little bit of context, and maybe. Well,
Yep.
actually, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So, this cycle just feels crazy. It's crazy hard to trade,
Hmm.
but in some people, like for example, Dom was saying, he's like, I'd rather not try and choose the bottom, but hop on strength. So for Dom, I feel like he's probably good enough to pinpoint the exact entry. But taking that, I would probably wait if I'm waiting for that reversal. I'd probably wait till after we confirm that we've indeed rejected off that and
Yeah.
are going back on the way up. And my entry probably would be a bit higher, probably at the
Yes.
start of that yellow, rather than trying to pinpoint that bottom area. Even
Hmm.
though that's how I was trained to pick up that bottom scoop, but in
Yep.
this market, I feel like I would probably wait until I'm
I
confirmed
wait.
we're going back,
Hmm.
right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I like if you look at a lot of the ways where I draw these moves and the way I share them, like rarely do I draw them like this with just like a single track.
Mm,
Most of the time when I draw them, if you go back and you look at my stuff, like it's almost always something like this. And the reason I do that is very, very specific. There's a reason I do this. I'm not looking to enter on this. I'm looking to enter on this, which is the
got it.
confirmation. You get what I'm
Got
saying?
it.
So this is the move down that, yes, it hits that zone, frees maybe some traders that were on the wrong side of this,
Hmm.
liquidates or stops people out or whatever. But then usually you get that higher low, or if you don't get something like this, sometimes it also looks similar to this, where like let's say you do go down and you make a series of lows or something, and then you get a move up that looks like it's leaving the train station, and then it comes back one last time to pick up the passengers that were waiting. So you get this, and I love entering on this here, right? It looks like it's gone, but you identify, okay, like here's roughly the upper bound of this little range that it was kind of consolidating in here. And then if I get a move back into roughly those highs, like this is where I'm looking to get in. And yeah, you miss this little bit down here, sure, but this here is like the safer, higher probability trade, and it allows you, if you get it, to take on a little bit more risk. You're willing to put your stop a little closer instead of having to say, well, where exactly should I put my stop? Well, here you'll clearly know that as long as it bounces here, maybe you're a risk taker and you want to keep it right below that bounce. Or worst case, you're like, I don't want to stay in this trade if it goes below these lows that it just formed.
Yep.
Right. So you're able to kind of manage that a little better. Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I think when I was first starting, I would try and catch these moves, because a big part of it, to be honest, is when you're starting out, or if you if you care about like clout on social media, everyone wants to catch the bottom. Everyone wants to be able to brag about, oh, Bitcoin dipped and I caught it here at 85,960 or whatever this is, and they want to brag about that. It's like, I don't care about that, man. To me, what will impress me is if you have a plan that you can articulate on how you're looking to enter that trade and why, and how you're looking to manage it. Like that's impressive to me, right?
I think, well, it's like that. It's like that idea of when you're grinding on the way up as an entrepreneur, and like you're trying to pick out the right watch to wear when you made your first 100 grand. But are you trying to impress the guys who are making less than 100 grand? Then yeah, your watch probably matters. You're trying to impress billionaires. They could give a rip. They're all wearing t-shirts and jeans that are 10 years old.
Yeah,
hey,
I think
Billy's
that's definitely like one of the things that you see a lot in crypto. Crypto Billy, what's up, brother?
Oh man, we'll have to get Billy on the stream at some point.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
No, this is cool, dude. I really like that. I think this is helpful. And one thing, actually, what was I going to say? There's a question I was going to ask when you had those other lines down there at the bottom.
I can put them back.
Yeah, if you could. So what was my question? I was going to say. I may not be able to remember it. Let me just stare at the lines for a couple extra seconds. While I'm staring.
Was it about like how to enter it, maybe, or?
It was. Bro, what was it? I'm staring at it. My brain is like, yep.
I'll leave it there in case it comes back to you.
It was a tip about, it was psychology around either entering the trade, exiting the trade, when to enter, when not to enter. Wow, I don't remember. That hurts my brain. That literally pisses me off. Every time I forget, I'm staring at it. I know exactly what the question is, but I don't remember. It was something I was going to ask your thoughts on. Wow. Yeah.
Maybe it'll come to you.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as like psychology, the only thing I will call out here is the hardest part about waiting for these trades is usually the little rip up. Because there is a lot of FOMO that happens here when you see price. Like let's say this does play out here, right? Like let's say this plays out, this exact thing here. BTC comes down, sweeps that low, and then it gives you this rip up, right? And let's say that this rip here actually looks something more like that, where it starts coming up kind of to this previous structure. A lot of people are going to get a lot of FOMO as it gets closer to this prior structure here. And that's the hard part. But being able to say like, nope, I'm going to wait, it's coming up to prior structure, which also means there's a chance that this could now reject from here. Like you could be getting a rejection. What if it does that? Like that could also be playing out here, right? You could be coming down, going back up and breaking. This is why I hate trying to catch the absolute bottom, and I don't like breakout trades. I like confirmation. So this is a risk. And so essentially what you're doing by waiting is you're saying, I'm willing to wait, that if it does go up there and it does come back down, if I'm looking for that higher low, higher low, then I can enter with confidence here, and then we can go on the move up, right? But yeah, a lot of people aren't willing to wait for this pullback because it does feel like it's getting away from you. Like this little pullback feels like it's getting away from you.
Alex is in the house. What's going on, everybody? Oh, do you know Alex? That's what Crypto Billy was asking.
Let's see,
Alex Crypto.
Do you know bits? I don't know that I know Alex. I'd have to see what their CT handle is, but
love it. Yeah, shout out to all the people in the chat here. He's a great Crypto Billy says he's a great trader. He'll have to hook us up. Let's Beautiful. Get it. Yeah, shout out to everyone who's coming in on YouTube. Shout out to everyone on X as well. Definitely be sure to give Bits a follow. Just doing some TA education, get some thoughts. In this market, you just have to learn how to trade. You have to be able to look at this and not just have zero clue. One thing that's so interesting about trading is it's so simple that it doesn't even it almost is confusing how simple it is. Because you're just looking for your setup. Like once you find the setup that you like, that your brain picks up easily, that you're able to
just trying to repeat it over and over. Yeah,
just trying to wait for it. And if you don't see it, you just move on with your life. I think people. I think the way trading is taught is that there's so many things you could look for, and there's so many indicators. Yeah. There's a morning star, there's a double bottom, there's so many options. Elliott trade, yeah. Like all these options. If people are like, I gotta find all of them. It's like, bro, they're all there all the time. But just find a couple that you like, or just one that you like, and then
in crypto. In crypto, you also have like the 24-hour pressure, right? The fact that it's open all the time. So I think it adds extra. I don't even know what the way to describe it is, but like you feel more pressured or inclined to look for trades more often instead of just saying like I'm waiting, right? Like if you trade US markets, you're kind of just waiting for the session to open, and you're like, okay, do I trade right away? Do I trade pre-market? Am I trading after the first hour? Do I like to trade the close? And then that's it. And you're done for the day. You check out, you clock out, and you come back the next day if you're going to trade the next day. With crypto, this stuff is open 24/7. And so there's just like this need of like, I got to be checking it on my phone. And what if a trade comes tonight during the Asia session? And so I don't know, man. I think if you're, if you're willing to like put the blinders on and, build an account up, there's a season for that for sure. But you just have to be careful because the burnout is real, man. The burnout is real, and not all trades, need to be taken. Like take in the long run, like if once your size starts to get up there on your account, you want to take the higher probability trades, man. You want to take less of the degen ones. That alone, like just taking less trades will make you more profitable. It's been my experience, and I've heard a lot of other people share the same thing.
Yeah, that's some sound advice.
Because you can give a lot of it back, Kate. I mean, just by trying to catch it. Like imagine this was like you're trading ETH, which number one is in a high time frame resistance, right? Like if we zoom out on ETH, why is this high time frame resistance? Well, because this has been a key level for a long time where price has either bounced on a macro level or it's rejected, right? Like when it rejected here, when it lost this level back in 22. I mean, look, it was below that level from May of 22 through November of 23. That's a long time to be below that level, right? And then when we got above it, it's held. And right now it pierced through it. And we're in my opinion, we lost that level again, and we're coming back up, more than likely to get some kind of rejection here. I think if we reclaim it, it's going to have to be a real strong reclaim. Right now, I'm just not seeing it. So you're in high time frame resistance. You start zooming in. And sure, like there was definitely some accumulation that happened here and some opportunities to grab longs here. You had this big move that kind of broke you out of this little accumulation range back here. You got the back test of the break, just like we just talked about here, right? Look, this exact same thing. Price came down, chopped, big breakout, gave the back test.
Yep.
That's literally what happened here. This was the entry here, right? If you didn't want to pick up some bags here, this was the back test. Everyone thought it was gone on this green candle, came back. There was your entry. We've got a nice little volatility range that's developed here since then. And, I've been looking for shorts here at getting close to this like low volume node, so I did grab a position here. If you didn't grab the Pico top, check this out. Same thing. You just play it the same way, but the inverse. Came up, right? Here, I'll draw it out so you guys can see it. Came up, did like an M thing, broke this range, came back. What is it doing? Back testing the break of the range, and then you get the continuation down. I mean, these things are all over the charts once you start looking for them. This setup here, and this is the riskier place to enter that trade because it could have kept going above. This is the safest play right here on that back test. And that was clean. Dude, and look, it's moving down to the bottom of the channel. It's beautiful. What could we want?
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Dude, the comment section is alive right now.
Dude, I noticed that, man. I don't think I don't think I've seen a stream with this much engagement. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think they're liking it. This is solid alpha. I will say that. By the way, this just came through a couple hours ago. I don't know if you saw this. I'm gonna bump mine up here as well, but let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
You see this?
Yeah.
A Sailor.
Yep. Sailor.
Like a Sailor. Our new preferred stock, Strife, STRF ticker, creates USD yield for investors and Bitcoin yield for MSTR investors. Begins trading today on the NASDAQ, which is pretty fascinating, bro.
That guy worries me, man. I know I've told you this before, but this guy legit worries me.
And he is the gambler of all gamblers.
I think too many people are seeing him as like the savior, and he might end up being the boogeyman. You know.
We'll definitely see, man. I mean, there was a picture of him on like magazine, like some kind of magazine of like Man of the Year or something like that. And
Oof.
I remember getting a little bit queasy in my stomach. So I was like, oh boy, this could definitely be a top. This could get bad because if he makes one big mistake, he's
Yeah.
now the new laughing stock. But I will say this: the way
Uh,
he's structured his position on Bitcoin um, makes me feel okayer, I guess, because his position on Bitcoin is so fundamentally long term and mixed in with philosophy about life. I mean, the way he describes Bitcoin is just this timeless treasure of value that is the only probably asset that you can invest in that in 200
sure.
years, will still be around. And even in 100 years is when the last Bitcoin will be mined. So he's like, you've got 100 years minimum because Bitcoin will continue to be mined and block space will become a thing and people will be buying block space and lending block space and the miners will be involved. So for me,
Yep.
Bitcoin long term is a huge W,
Yep.
but the amount that he's buying all the time scares me a little bit just because if something goes
Agreed.
wrong, he
Agreed.
keeps raising that average price to the point where he's getting kind of close, like within 10, 20 grand of current Bitcoin prices. And
Well, and he owns
that
what, like 2.5% of supply now, or something like that. It's over 2%.
yeah, I mean, he's got more than
Yep.
the United States, I think. He owns a lot of Bitcoin, which also makes me nervous for just the idea in general of decentralization and having a few entities owning so much. BlackRock is
Yep.
buying more and more and more and more. Every single couple of weeks, I'm seeing an enormous amount being bought by these institutions, which
Yeah.
is great because that's money locked up, parked in Bitcoin, and a lot of the ETFs are going to be holding it. But at the same time, I'm like, how institutional do we go before it's too late? And so in my head, I'm trying to decide, if Bitcoin's going to be, I imagine it's going to be that asset that becomes digital gold. But originally Satoshi imagined it as a peer-to-peer asset that you could always have control over. We'll
Yep.
see what end up. Well, we'll end up seeing what Bitcoin becomes, but I think it will probably just be the store of value,
Yep.
probably amongst others. But it does seem like it's a tier above any other asset out there, just
Yeah.
because of how it was
Well,
created.
because of the origin story, right? And some unique
Yeah.
things that you can't really replicate, like the whole Satoshi story. I mean, how do you replicate that on a new project? You really can't.
Yeah. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
definitely.
All the
Here, let
BTC
me
that's
pull yours
lost
back up here. I'll take mine
in
down.
wallets, like there's a lot of unique things about Bitcoin for sure. Even
There
if
we
you copied it like fundamentally in tokenomics, you can't replicate it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely.
I mean, I would say ETH is another one that I think has a potential for kind of that store of value long term. It's been
Think
an
so?
underperformer. Yeah, it's been an underperformer. I mean, like, from a trade perspective, it's been underperforming. Um, but from like a more fundamental, big picture view, ETH has been around for a long time. I mean, it's proven itself. Doesn't have really any major flaws outside of the gas fees when the network is congested, which I think L2s solve most of that, right? And you don't have a whole bunch of VCs that are getting token unlocks of ETH and dumping it on everyone. So there's, you also don't have a lot of you don't have an inflation problem with Ethereum like you do with Solana. I mean, this is another one to call out, right? Um, Solana's market cap from 2021 all-time high through the high that it just put in, the new all-time high in December, January, the market cap grew nearly 80%. But when you looked at the token price from 2021 highs to the token price to the recent highs in January, token only went up 13% from 2021. So Solana has a real inflation problem. Ethereum doesn't suffer from that. Bitcoin doesn't suffer from that. It's 1-to-1. Market cap go up, price goes up. Solana, not so much, right? It's a different story. So, but yeah, I think ETH has potential, man. I just do think that maybe, I don't know, maybe Ben Cohen's right. Maybe it's gotta go home first. That certainly could be what's playing out here on ETH. Maybe it's got to go a little bit lower down here somewhere, and that's our lows. But yeah, we'll see. I think this one has potential. Dude, one of the big narratives, Cade, right now has been stable coins, right? Like
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
big narrative. No other network has the type of stable coin liquidity and depth as Ethereum. So it's another reason. We'll get into it. I don't want to make this an ETH stream, but there's a lot of fundamental reasons why I think ETH is strong The DeFi sector on ETH is strong. I
Mm.
think it's got potential, but technically right now though, I am short Ethereum just because it
Are you?
looks, it doesn't, it just, it doesn't look good. But this is,
Sure.
and this actually even is like a good example of something that a lot of people who don't trade struggle with. It's like if you have a bias, you would then struggle to trade the opposite of like of that fundamental view. Like I just told you, I'm bullish on ETH, but I'm shorting it because the chart tells me it looks like crap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with that until you kind of build up that ability to separate. Like same thing you just said, like Bitcoin long term, big W, perfect. Does not mean I'm not going to short it. Does not mean I'm not going to trade the ranges. Does not mean I'm not going to take advantage of the volatility. So
Like
it is
so
what it is.
100%. Yeah, you gotta identify what kind of trader you are, and he might be. And by the way, Bits might be short for a scalp trade. It doesn't mean he's short for the next 6 years. And by the way, bring this up because you mentioned it, but Trump launches the World Liberty, which is his like crypto squad, to launch USD1, a new stable coin called One, and that's going to be coming out on Ethereum. So you were right there, and the Binance Smart Chain, which is probably like it's one of the top ones for sure. And so that's going to be happening. This is in the last couple of weeks. And BitGo, which is a digital asset custody firm, will be providing custody of the reserves. This was pretty interesting. We'll see what happens. World Liberty Fi is 60% owned, affiliate with Trump and the Trump family. Eric Trump is probably the biggest advocator of ETH right now. He keeps tweeting about it at the top. This must be your friend, Bits. This is the guy who keeps dealing you, isn't it?
I will say this. One of the guys that that I'm working with and building something with, he does have a history with the Trump family in the past. So in terms of crypto. So yeah, I mean, I think they know what it is. They understand that it's not going anywhere,
Yeah. What's also interesting is so many people in the big business world are coming in. Like Grant Cardone has launched a Bitcoin fund of sorts. We saw Peter Schiff even made like a reserve for Bitcoin.
Made a wallet.
But he made an actual wallet, and he was like asking people to like invest in it and stuff. But yeah, Greg Cardone was talking about this a little while ago. I remember I was in Spaces. He was really happy on promotion for it. I need to catch up actually with what's going on there. We're not sponsored by Grant Cardone. Just this is an interesting conversation. But yeah, he introduced the first ever real estate Bitcoin hybrid fund. Combined with his ability to just promote at a ridiculous level with his 10x brands. He does pretty well from what I hear. I have no idea his actual numbers, but in terms of making people think it's a big deal, he definitely does that pretty well. He's been in the game for so long. It's funny that he jumps in our spaces sometimes, mainly Bitcoin ones.
Yeah, him and Gary.
Yeah. Gary and Grant. You see that if Gary's in a space, then half the time. And Gary, by the way, for people who don't know, is his twin brother. Grant Cardone has a twin brother, and he comes in a lot of our spaces as well. He's pretty cool. I like him. In the beginning, he was like, very hard-headed, and he was trying to figure out what was going on. And then over time, he really started to understand Bitcoin. And then eventually, Grant starts jumping in Bitcoin spaces, and Gary starts explaining it. And Grant seems to have gotten a decent grasp of Bitcoin, started even buying into it himself, and then obviously starting this. But I think Bitcoin for me is probably the best, easiest shill. Like it's the easiest for me to explain to people who are not in the game, I guess, of crypto land, because they can understand the idea of saying, hey, this is an asset that is very fundamentally different than anything else we've got going on. And it's easy to explain, dude. I explain to Uber drivers like every other day. Whenever they ask what I do, I immediately enter the Bitcoin conversation.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Fun to trade also. I would prefer. I know a lot of people trade Bitcoin. They don't even trade the altcoins because they're like, why bother? Just trade the main guy.
I mean, that's mainly what I do. Is I think if you're doing high time frame swings, you do want okay, we're getting some action. BTC crossing down. Okay, there went my alert. Let's see if we get the trade here live on the stream.
Interesting. That would be crazy.
Keep in mind though, right? Like we're on a 15-minute here, so this would be like a scalp trade, and we'll see if it can get continuation. But
by the way, what
you zoom out and it still has room.
What brokers do you work with, or do you trade with?
Yeah, I've got a couple different exchanges I'm playing with, so I rotate through them. A lot of times, it's just my own what's the word I'm looking for? Paranoia about exchanges,
Oh, yeah,
centralized exchanges, and then I'll do some on-chain stuff too. I'm using some on-chain
nice.
platforms as well, but yeah, I rotate it quite a bit, and I tend to like move funds on, trade, and then move funds off. Dude, I'm just so paranoid. I'm just so
I hear you.
paranoid.
Yeah, I
I
agree. I
be
was gonna
like
say,
being here from like early on for me. I mean, for me, it feels like it was early on, but there were people here that definitely are much more OGs than what I was. But yeah, I got to like trade on, I don't know, probably like 5+ exchanges that all ended up changing their jurisdiction rules and stuff and
mhm,
kicking you out basically. So yeah.
that's brutal. Yeah, we had talked about it. Actually, in the space, it kind of reminds me. We were chatting with the Ostium team, and what's his name? Calvin was like
Yeah.
stopped out against his will. Like he had a bunch of trades he was in, ready to go, and he had a whole plan. It was going to last a lot longer than I think. I'm not exactly sure when he had planned his exits, but he was in the middle of the trades and he ended up having to get out, and because he was on a certain exchange.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ostium, because you can basically trade anything and everything all on chain. It's all sub custody, it's full
Yep.
transparency. I'll show you guys what it looks like. I brought it up a second ago.
Dude,
I agree with
that's the
that.
move right now is what these guys are doing. That's definitely the move. Is
Yeah,
give
like it doesn't
yourself
have
a
to be what you want. Yeah,
centralized feel, but with
exactly.
decentralization.
Yeah, I mean, this for people who don't know, this is what Ostium looks like. I'm working with them. They're an awesome platform. They're decentralized. It's basically what you get with a brokerage account, but it's
Yep.
decentralized, and so you can do everything you can with the normal thing. But I use TradeStation for the brokerage, but you never know. I like them so far, but you never know. This has basically everything you need, but all you have to do is connect your crypto wallet to it, and then you can long, you can short, you can do
Yep.
50x leverage, like Brad Price is always doing these days. But it makes it easy. You can do it on your phone or your computer. And I
Yep.
don't know about you, Bits, but for me, the my like main thing with I feel like with traders who are trying to get in, and including myself here, uh, there are friction points that really make it difficult to jump in. And
Yep.
usually it's like which brokers do I use? How do I link it? Then I have to send
Yep.
money back and forth. That stuff's obnoxious. And so I like the idea of having multiple. So you don't have to be a single centralized maxi. You can have multiple brokerages, and like you
Yep.
said, diversify the risk that you've got.
Well, and I'll
So
give you a tip around that also that to me it's been helpful. I'm sure other people would probably find it helpful as well. If you're playing with multiple exchanges, you're also able to kind of segregate like your scalps from your midterm trades from long-term trades, because what ends up happening a lot of times if you're only trading on one account, like one exchange, um you're setting yourself up to basically have an emotional reaction at some point and close out like a longer term trade because it's
yeah,
right there right in front of you, versus where you could set your long-term trades on one account, and then you just you put your TP, you put your SL, you put all that, you put that away, and you log into a separate account on a separate exchange, and then that one's like your scalps, and you're not going to mess up those other trades that you locked in because you emotionally were reactive to something, right? Or because you clicked the wrong button. That happens a lot too. Sometimes I've closed something out, I'm like, oh, that was the wrong one, or I fat fingered it or whatever. So I tend to separate it. You could do it with sub accounts. You could do it with just entirely different logins. You could do it with different exchanges where,
yeah,
like this exchange, I'm only looking to scalp. This exchange, I'm only looking to do swings. You could also do as far as like on this account, I only long. On this other account, I only short. And then that way you're also not mixing those two like mindsets, the state of mind that you have to be in for those. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of offset risk, but also protect from yourself, both like just mistakes and then also just the fact that we're human and we do dumb stuff.
definitely,
So
definitely.
look at
But
that little bounce on BTC, man. Look at
that's
that.
crazy,
It's a
actually.
tiny little bounce, but look what it did though. All it
Exactly
essentially
what I was
did,
thinking.
it just swept these lows. We're gonna see here, like, are we gonna get some volume coming in? So far, there's no volume. Okay, so we're not seeing any big buy volume come in, which still keeps me cautious here. But you're looking for a bounce, and I do think that maybe something like this is what's in play here. Like we're gonna see if it can creep up, maybe on low volume, come back down, give a lower high, and then do we see the volume on the follow through, and then you'd take a position, maybe like here if you get it right, but your stop below the low, try and get it back up to the top of the channel, and that's essentially like what you would be looking to play if we get it. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it rejects like we said, and it keeps going lower.
Yeah, there's a guy. He's the number one trading streamer person, or trading spaces host in the world. His name is Jordan. Ace the Kid is his handle. We do a lot of financial. Yeah, he do his spaces are crazy. Like hundreds, thousands of people tune in every single day. It's live, listening to him click buttons and stuff. But he's still posting content on like Instagram and stuff. And what I love about it is and he's not the only creator who does this. A lot of traders do this, but I just know him, so I like his videos, of course. And he's a great trader. But he'll enter the trade, and then he'll put a time lapse on basically, and he'll zoom through it, and it's just him talking to the stream, whatever. But the play, he'll enter the trade, and it'll like go up and it'll go down. And it gets really dangerously close to like his stop, and then it's right back up, and then you can see the whole time he's just kind of hanging out. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
You're just waiting. There's nothing. To your point, which is so fascinating. But I love that. I think for a lot of traders, you and Dom say it a lot, but watching price action, uber important. 2, back testing, but 3, for me, like there's some Instagram accounts that do a lot. They'll pull the trade up and be like, okay, at this point, would you enter? Would you not enter? Why? Where's it going? And then it plays out the rest of the move. And I'm like, dude, that stuff, I feel like can streamline a trader from absolutely zero information to kind of knowing what they're talking about. And then from there, you have to place trades and then keep a record of your trades and stuff like that. But I see Steve is in the house. He's throwing laughing.
Look, I'm telling you, that's the alpha. I said it this morning on the space. Trader Steve comes on to my live streams, and then now he's on this one. He's trying to get the alpha, man, and then he's gonna go post it, and then he's gonna be like, "Yo, like I got all these things right." But I'm watching you, Trader Steve. I see what's going on here, man.
We're on to you, bro.
We're on to you, man.
I gotta get Steve on here at some point. Steve, we'll get you on the stream.
Steve's legit. Yeah, Steve's legit. I like watching his stuff too. Yeah, he's cool.
Well, especially the last like few months, we kind of geared our spaces less towards what are we seeing in the market, like certain coins, to more TA focus. And Steve's shining like a lighthouse, bro. Like that's really is his bread and butter. Because prior to that, we're like, oh, we're looking at this coin, whatever. And then we were like, hey, we're gonna go move into higher level TA stuff. And he was like, dude, hell yeah. And so I think that is like the main reason our spaces grew, actually, because we didn't change too much, but the quality is going up and people are actually learning from those spaces because we got some savages on there. And so, shout out to Steve. Definitely give him a follow. And Bits is also in the title right above our faces on X, and down in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, you can give him a follow on X. Highly recommend it. You don't have a YouTube, do you, Bits? Is it just X you're using?
Yeah, it's just X, man, for now. Yeah. I guess, cool. I mean, I record all the content that I stream over there. It probably wouldn't be.
I mainly use YouTube
but an extra step to like throw it on there,
It's just there for me as like a resume book cover so that people can find old streams and stuff. That's the main reason it's there for me. Otherwise, I don't really pour too much effort into YouTube. After the last bear market and I saw everybody leave, I was like, man, dude, X really is like the main place you got to live for finance world, in my opinion. So I mainly focus, but yeah. But,
see, look at this trade. If you were trying to snipe that, thinking you were going to catch it, I mean, what if it just keeps going down? That's the risk. That's why I always wait on the confirmation.
Definitely. What other confirmations are you looking at? You got some things down there, I see.
Yeah, like look, I'll have RSI and MACD up, but usually they're minimized. Like when you look at all my streams or all my charts, I really don't look at them unless I'm unable to make a decision just based on price alone. Then I'll start looking at that. I do look at volume. Mainly I'm a volume trader, but one of the things that I'm using on here is I'll use vector candles, and then I also use the visible range, which are both based on volume. So for example, it's on, but you can't really see it. Let me move these out of the way. These red candles coming down, let me get rid of the gray zone actually, just for the sake of this. There we go. So you can see here now, right, Cade? You can make out the colors of these candles. Yeah, so these are vector candles. Like usually, let me grab an arrow marker here. Okay. All right. So these that have like the gray body, both the green ones and the red ones, they have kind of like that, kind of like a matte fill on the body. That means those are just standard volume candles. Like if you were to pull up your volume indicator down here, none of them really have any kind of like out of normal volume or any kind of extraordinary volume. They're just standard volume. Now, once they start being colored, so for example, red candles, cell candles, they're either going to be colored purple, like this one here, or they're going to be red. And so this volume indicator that I use, this vector candle indicator, it basically colors them for me based on the volume, the buy sell volume that you're seeing down here. So it's a quick way for me to gauge and see this one that's a solid red fill and say, okay, this candle here had more sell volume than the prior handful of candles. And if you look here at your volume, sure enough, this was that red vector candle compared to the ones before it were relatively low volume compared to this one, right? And you get the same thing with the greens. Like this was a green vector candle up here. And if you look at the buy volume on this one, look at that green volume on that candle versus like the green on the ones prior to that. So it's just another way to kind of visualize volume quickly just by looking at the candles instead of having to say, okay, what does my buy sell volume look like? You know, adding a like a volume indicator separately, because you can add like a spot or OI or cumulative or whatever, or you can look at the visible range. So just a bunch of different ways to see the same thing, which is where's the volume and where's the liquidity is essentially all you're looking at there. But yeah, this one, look, that one's okay. So the one right before it was red. This one's that violet color, which still means it's high. It's a high volume sell off, but it's less volume than the one right before it. Right. So it's less volume than the solid red. So who knows? I mean, we still could be getting, believe it or not, could be getting something like that still setting up somewhere in here.
Oh boy.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I see Steven saying, do you remember the SUI trade? The SUI. Is it SUI, by the way, or is it SUI?
It's SUI. It's SUI. Yeah,
it is SUI. Okay. Confirm SUI. By the way, do you remember the SUI chart trade on Sunday, he said?
SUI trade on Sunday. I don't know. Like, was it my chart or his? What's he?
I don't know. Sunday. I'm trying to think. We didn't do a space on Sunday, so I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about. Steve, give us some clarity on what you're asking about. I'm not sure what you mean.
Would have been a long from down here if that's what he's talking about.
He says it's yours. He said your trade. He said you said it on stream. Oh boy.
Oh yeah. I don't know, dude. I covered a lot of stuff on these streams. I don't know, man. I can't remember all the things I said correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, dude. Now he's getting cooked.
I said it looked good and
he took notes, bro. This guy knows exactly what the trade was.
Oh man, okay.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Pulled up here on the. I see him in the chat laughing. All caps.
Steve, as long as I was on the right side of that, man, I remember. If I wasn't, I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? If I called it wrong, then yeah, I don't recall, man.
Yeah, dude, that's really funny. That's really funny. Yeah, you're right, dude. This literally, right. This is the trend that I had earlier. Just like right below it. I'm on the 5 minute. I'm zoomed in real. We're getting cooked on the 5 minutes, dude. I feel like I'm in the meme coin territory right now, trending into the real degen candles. I feel right at home right now.
And these moves like this, man, they're so. Oh, I was right. Oh, I totally remember that move, Trader Steve. Yeah, 100%, man. We killed it. Yeah, I remember it.
Okay.
Well, now that he said I was right, I mean, of course I remember.
Of course you remember.
You know,
of course.
You know?
That's funny. That's really funny.
Here, let's look at that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know, man, Kate. I mean, this thing is it's moving with some speed, but I will tell you, these types of candles like this, these are not the ones you want to be trying to buy.
That's exactly
it's not my style. Like I will wait. I will not be trying to catch this, because if it keeps going down, you're going to be on the wrong side of that, and it's going to hurt.
It would be strange for it to break through that. I mean, it would be a bit of a change in momentum if it does confirm and break right through there, because that trend line has been bounced unsuccessfully now 4 times almost. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 times. It looks like, depending on which
how you're drawing it.
Out. But now, Steve, or Billy, I'm going to, bro. I have a background enough to understand, but I don't have the experience of doing it, so all my time goes towards content. But I'm gonna tie up bits of wealth Crypto Billy and Steve. I'm gonna tie all of you guys up and force you to trade me for the next year until I'm profitable, and then we'll get out there and we'll start a stream show together or something like that. No, I need to. It just seems like a waste of. It seems like a waste not to. Everyone I know trades. It's like, why would I not?
You're already in space. Yeah, you're
yeah,
already in space, man.
here. Exactly.
You're hosting freaking market talk spaces.
Yeah,
you know, like, come on, man.
Exactly. Well, I talked to Don about it too. He was like, it's not like you have to spend too much time on the charts. Like, you just need less than an hour, even sometimes, just to look for your setup. If your setup's there, great, enter the trade. If not, move on with your life.
Yeah.
So I probably am just a little bit overthinking it in terms of time. But that would be amazing content.
Yeah, that's true. That's another side of it too, right? Is documenting the journey.
Fair. Hey, are you looking at Solana, by the way? Recently, you pairing Solana up with anything?
No, once it kind of started showing relative weakness, I haven't really looked at it very much for signals in that sense. Yeah, I still kind of stand by what I've kind of been saying, which is I think Solana mainly ran its race last year. I mean, to be fair to Solana, I mean, it was on fire from Q4 of 2023 through beginning of this year. I mean, it just absolutely was, right? It went sideways just like everything else did. But all through this period, you could have been pairing other assets, other alts against Solana, and you could have been making some smart trades based on that. Right now, it's just it's here, let me hide that. It's definitely showing some weakness. It's showing that it's a little bit exhausted. So yeah, I would say unless it reverts back to a position of strength against the market, I'm probably not going to use that. And I would be looking at this like Solana. Let me hide that VRVP. I'd be looking at Solana against total as kind of my guide for that. If Solana starts to outperform against total again, then 100% I'll start pairing stuff against it. But right now it's actually bleeding out against total. Like right now, you're probably going to see Sol, if it does come back up, it's probably going to do something like that off that EMA and also off this prior structure here. So yeah, I think Solana is going to continue to give up a little bit more of that dominance to the rest of the market in the short term. And then, I'm really interested to see what happens if it can come down here. But yeah, when you look at it against total, it's still showing bearish continuation, and also against total 3, I believe this is what this one is. So this would be like the other alts still coming down. Yeah.
Is there anything that like for example, the Tory person I was telling you about before the stream started, she trades a lot of like platinum because she believes with her strategy, platinum happens to just follow trend lines very well, very reliably. For any of these specific charts, Solana, ETH, SWI, whoever, are there any specific coins that follow certain trends that you notice that you're like, yeah, it's a bit easier to catch on this if you're this type of trader? It usually works well on ETH that you've noticed the cycle.
No, I don't know that there's like anything that I'd say jumps out at me in that way. If you're in crypto, you want to be pairing against BTC or whatever like that leading alt is behind ETC, right? So in the past, or BTC, sorry, in the past, it was ETH, right? Like in prior cycles, people would say you want to look at your alt against BTC and you want to look at your alt against Ethereum, right? That's been prior cycles. This current cycle, it's been Solana for me. It's like I want to look at an alt against Bitcoin, and then I want to look at it against Solana. And if it wasn't outperforming or looking bullish against either of those two, then I wasn't interested in the altcoin. But if it was showing signs that it was going to outperform either one of those, then I got interested, right? Because then why do I want to hold BTC or Sol if I've got an alt that's potentially going to run against them? So that's kind of how I've looked at it. But looking at them against total gives you a lot of insights. Like you can just pull up any of your alts, put it against total or total 3, and then you start to get some information on whether it's going to be a performer or not. I mean, like here it was clear. I mean, if you were looking at Solana against total, here's one way to look at it, right? Because you were talking about trend lines. Let me show you another way to kind of look at that same thing, but with EMAs. Okay, so this is the 1 week chart of Solana against total. Okay, this blue line is the 21 EMA. Okay, on a weekly. Right now, this 21 EMA, like if you just look at it, yes, it kind of tells you the general trend, but it wasn't giving you like clear tradable signals
Mm-hmm.
in this form, right? Why do I say that, Kate? I say that because even through all of this, like it would pierce it multiple times, right? So it wasn't highly reliable. It would pierce it, it'd be above it, it'd be below it. Okay. But here's one trick that you can do without changing anything except the time frame. What happens if I suddenly go to okay, this is a 1 week, so 7 day. What happens if I go to a 10-day time frame? Look how much cleaner that
Wow.
suddenly became. Now we've got a lot of instances where price came down near it or touched it, but did not pierce it, did not close below it. Therefore, when you do get a close below it, that could be a tradable signal because something changed. Something finally changed here for Solana on a 10-day that this EMA had held as support, and then suddenly it did not here. So something
Mm,
happened. Like this was the point where something changed for Solana against total. Because for the first time in months, it broke below the CMA. So now, my stance shifted here. I'm like, okay, something's changing. Solana's starting to show some weakness. This move up, even though it came all the way up, it's now coming back up after breaking that structure of that EMA, right? And you could play with this. You could say, okay, I want to get rid of these wicks that are still below it. Okay, go to like an 11-day. Boom, crystal clear. You now
mhm,
have no fake outs below that EMA. And then when you finally got to move below it, something changed. Same thing on this side, right? If you were looking to use it on the way down, you would have
mhm.
been looking for, okay, is it the 2 week? Maybe below the 2 week. Yeah, look, you had clear rejections at it. So it's just different ways to look at the chart using these EMAs. Is
Is there
you
a way to
can change the
sabotage
time
yourself?
frame. You can change the EMA itself. Like maybe it's not a 21, maybe you need a 17, maybe you need a 13. But
Mm,
you're just finding for different things that can help you visually see a pattern and then visually see when that pattern changes. That's it. Like it's
yeah,
not magic. Like you're just
right.
I need some way to identify when something is happening consistently and then when it stops happening or when
Mm,
suddenly something starts happening that wasn't previously happening. That's all we're looking for is patterns.
yeah.
Does that make
Is there,
sense?
yeah, it does make sense. Like my question is
I've
like, if
got no audio from you, Cade, by the way.
let me know if you can hear me.
No, I can't hear
Audio
you.
check.
Hopefully it's not mine. Let me see
Okay,
here.
sec. Audio
Your mic broke. Nah, no
check.
audio still.
Here, I'm gonna put this in the chat. Can you guys hear me on stream?
Oh,
Oh,
you
okay.
guys can hear him, but I cannot. So maybe
Oh
it's a
boy,
StreamYard issue.
it might be a StreamYard issue.
What? I don't think I've got you
Um,
muted. How would I mute you from my end?
okay, he says we can hear both.
They can hear us both.
Interesting. All
So
right.
that's
Well,
interesting.
honestly, we are close to the end of the stream anyway. So here, let me
Okay.
see.
Well, let me. Wow. How the heck did that happen? Hold on here. Mute. I don't have anything muted. I don't know why it would not be working.
Let's jump out.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna pull it up on X to hear it.
That is the way. This is technical difficulties on steroids for everyone who's watching. This is how it goes in the streamland. Good ability says Bits, you don't know how to read lips. That's hilarious. Well, Bits doesn't need to read lips. He just needs to see my private chat where I text
Say
him.
something, Kate. Nah, I still can't hear you. What?
Yeah, let me text him
I don't know how to read lips. That's hilarious.
on.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me jump out and jump back in. Give me a sec here.
Pop out, back in real quick. Well, yeah, we'll get him back in a second. And by the way, just while we're waiting on him, definitely give him a follow, guys. He is a beast. We love doing streams and spaces with him. He's awesome. And also a big shout out to Ostium. We had him pulled up a little bit ago. I love their platform. We are working with them as well, by the way. But just as a platform, especially for new traders trying to get in and figure out everything that's going on, they are great. What's up, Bits of Wealth? Bits, you with us? Can you hear me? Nothing?
Nope.
All good. All right.
Oh man, what
We'll
in the heck?
yeah.
How is this? Hold on. How is it not working? That's hilarious.
All right, hold on.
Unmute.
We'll just wrap. We'll wrap
Yeah,
here.
we'll
It's
wrap it.
all good. All good. And by the
Whatever
way,
Kate says, I'm good with
yeah,
that.
hey guys, everyone, thank you all so much for coming here.
As
It's
long
been
as
an
it's not bad. If it's bad, I'm
exactly,
against.
exactly. No, excellent stream, and I appreciate all you guys coming through. Be sure to check out Ostium. We brought them up a little bit ago with all the stuff going on their platform. They're an excellent platform here to be trading if you're looking to get into the game. Highly recommend them. It's decentralized, self custody, very much like TradingView. You can place your own trades. You can mark up the charts, whatever you want to do. You can jump into a trade super easily. It's beyond easy to use. You can set your stuff however you want. Proven sell. You can long and short. You just have to connect your wallet. It is beyond easy. So shout out to them for sponsoring Wolf, and shout out to Bits of Wealth for donating his time and expertise to us. And we'll catch you guys all in.
Oh, my audio's back.
Oh, he's back. What? What happened?
I don't know.
Dude, what? Did you click anything?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, I just did the whole shill. I shilled you and Ostium and told everyone
Perfect.
to follow you guys. That's pretty much all you missed. Before we wrap, though, is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Let people know. Are you doing a stream later or tomorrow or something like that?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna try and get one today. So
Cool.
I'm trying to hit like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, tune in if you want to follow along. I'm gonna do it later today on X. Don't have a time locked in quite yet. Probably like in the next 3 to 4 hours or so. I'll throw
Cool.
something up, scroll through some charts.
Yep.
But no, this is fun, man. I always enjoy these. You do a great job of hosting content, man. I like it. It's just good conversations, good content. You guys have got a great community on the Wolf side, tons of support. The chat was amazing today. Shout out to everyone that came in and supported and engaged. So appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Make sure you give him a follow, guys. Bits of Wealth on X. He's right above us, our faces on X if you're watching the stream. If you're on YouTube, you can find his stuff down below in the description. But highly recommend you give him a follow because if he goes live on stream, it'll pop up and it'll say live just like it does right here for us. It'll say Bits of Wealth is hosting, and all you have to do is click on the stream, and boom, you're going to be watching him. So highly recommend it. And yeah, man, that's pretty much all I've got on this side of things. Alpha Bros says he just gave you a follow. Let's get it.
I appreciate that. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Cool. All right, bro. Well, we'll wrap here. For everyone who's listening and watching, please like and retweet. Please do retweet it. If you enjoyed the stream, retweet the stream. It's the easiest way to get the stream out there, really, and show support if you guys like these spaces and streams. We do them every single day, basically, at Wolf Crypto, and we'll be doing a whole lot more, I hope. And so shout out to all of you who came through, everyone in the comment section as well. It was a very lively comment section. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the next one. I'm jumping on with a team, Tokenize This. They're doing a conference we'll be going to in New York City in a couple weeks, actually, at 5 p.m. Eastern as well. And it's just going to be a half hour. It's going to talk about the state of RWAs and then give some details about the conference that we'll be going to. So hopefully if you guys are going to that one, I'll see you in New York for that in a couple weeks. And we'll see you in the next one, everybody. Take care. And 3,